Greetings and salutations, kids, and welcome to the show. The Miles and Points report is usually on Thursday, but today we are taking a little bit of a extra news flash from Scandinavia, and of course, my good friend Erling from Final Call Travel in Scandinavia was able to join me on short notice. Big news coming out today, Erling.
Yeah, really. I don't think anybody in Norway would have seen this one coming, that Air France-KLM would be one of the new owners of Scandinavian Airlines. And the really breaking news was the plan of SAS leaving Star Alliance for SkyTeam.
Right. That is that's big news, and also not just for for Scandinavian, but also for others, and that means that from being a strong presence for Star Alliance in Scandinavia, it will now be virtually zero, with Lufthansa flying into they fly into Bergen and they fly into Stavanger and Oslo as pretty much what in Norway, and then to Stockholm and Gothenburg in Sweden.
Yeah, they even have a weekly flight from Frankfurt to Tromsø.
Seasonal, yes, I saw that. So people are going up to look at the Northern Lights. So we've seen earlier this year, we saw Finnair getting closer to Oneworld by adapting the currency of the Avios currency, which is IAG's currency that is used by multiple airlines. And SAS is, do you think that SAS is going to be a member of Flying Blue, just like many other? So Flying Blue has a substantial. They have Air KLM, Air France, Kenya Airways, KLM, Transavia, and Tarom are all Flying Blue as using Flying Blue as their loyalty program. Do you think that will happen to SAS?
I wouldn't be surprised. I was previous to our conversation here, listening to the Norwegian news channels where they had an interview with Carsten Dilling, which is the chairman of Scandinavian Airlines, and he said that it was very important for SAS to keep their 7.5 million euro bonus members very close during this process. However, he couldn't say that the euro bonus would exist for forever, and that if they were going to join Flying Blue, it wouldn't be at the same moment as they was entering the new alliance, but in time it might be that they saw some advantages of joining them instead. And if they do, of course, I think it would be good for the customer that at least we have the same kind of currency. As you said, Tommy, that the XP and the system they use there. And maybe that is bringing them a stronger alliance. In Star Alliance, there are no such thing as a common currency. All the airliners, the members of Star Alliance, have their own currency, and it's getting harder and harder to use your points. And also, like as a member of Eurobonus, you are not able to buy bonus tickets from Singapore Airlines, for instance.
Right. Well, that's a limitation that they've had for a while, and also, I mean, there are limitations for people who don't have status in SkyTeam as well. You have, for example, you can't redeem if you don't have status. You historically, I think they're opening the doors now, but just like Star Alliance doesn't let you redeem for most members don't get to redeem for Swiss First. You can't redeem for La Première, for example, with Air France. So there will always be restrictions like that. And there are also lounge restrictions and other restrictions as well, including for what you pay for selecting seats and things like that. If you're not top tier, you get a discount. And the higher the tier you are, you get to pick better seats without paying with KLM. I think that it is, from a consumer perspective, it's definitely a better thing than what SAS has today, because you said SAS has taken an approach where they're kind of them and Lufthansa is not working as closely as they used to before, meaning that the flights that go between, the booking is not such a seamless experience, it seems to me. Is that right?
Yeah. For instance, if I want to book a ticket via SAS to the US, there are never coming up a suggestion for a connecting flight with Lufthansa or any other for that sake. We also see that many of the companies are starting to cooperate with the airlines in other alliances. We see that Lufthansa is bringing in Eurowings, Discover, flying for them, which doesn't give any other than their own members any benefits. So by doing that, the alliance is not as strong as it was when you were sure that you got benefits as SAS Gold with whatever company you were flying with. But what's for sure is that the airlines need to make more money in the future. The cost is getting up. The ticket prices is hard to raise, perhaps, and then they are trying to make more money on the frequent travelers by reducing the benefits and make you pay for it instead.
Yeah, I think that the Scandinavian programs are probably I can tell you immediately here in the U.S. it's not any better. It's actually a whole lot worse than it used to be when it comes to availability. For standard awards aren't really that much available anymore. So the way that people are redeeming is going to change and there's also a lot more miles and points in circulation than it used to be, meaning that you have all these credit cards. Even in Scandinavia, SAS has been pretty successful rolling out their credit cards and are using that as a big marketing advantage with their competitors in Scandinavia. Like Norwegian Reward is a whole different ball game than what's offered. But before we get to the competition, so let's look at the facts. What actually happened today? So I'm going to share the screen and we can chat a little bit about the operation. So do you think that is Anko done? He's done his job now, turning around the company, getting new owners and things. Is he the SAS CEO? Is he done with the job? Is he moving on to somewhere else?
Well, that's hard to say. There was, of course, a question from one of the journalists on attending the press conference that asked him if he was proud of bringing SAS closer to the Netherlands and KLM, which we all know that Anko have a story with. And he said that he was pretty sure that question would come. And when that's said, he said that it's not the color of my passport that is deciding in which direction we are going. The chairman also said that the first thing they tried to raise the money was to ask the current investors or shareholders, but they wasn't willing to add the funds, which should be at 13 billion Swedish krona. Equivalent to $1.175 million. So that's why they found it. What I'm more surprised about is that they make those money with only 4 investors.
Right. Well, let's look at who the new owners are. So they are raising close to 13 billion Swedish kroner, which is about 1.1 billion US dollars, which in an airline sense isn't really that much. It isn't that much money. It's like we see how much money SAS lost in the last quarter. That's pretty much, or the last year. It's pretty much half that money, right? So, but of course, there are expenditures with the Chapter 11 process that might skew that. But a bad airline year can mean much more. It's 13 billion kroner or 1.1 billion dollars isn't really that much money when we were talking about airlines. So what we are looking at here, so Castlelake which is a known company in the space here, right? So it's going to be and taking the majority of the convertible debt that's here. So before we move into who the owners are, the current shareholders they're taking it off the stock exchange and SAS off the stock exchange, and the current owners get zero, including the Danish government, who has a substantial ownership right now, right?
Yeah, but somebody have a big hope this morning, because the news said that the SAS share was raising up 20% this morning when the news about the press conference was known.
Right.
So it was pretty unexpected, because I think many would have expected that when they are inviting for a press conference in that short notice, it must be something big going on. When that said,
I would classify that as something big going on, so for sure.
Yeah. But the Castlelake is also taking 32% of the stakes and will be the biggest shareholder for the new configuration.
Yeah, so for those who don't know who Castlelake is, it is an American company, an American investment company. And they are, it's not the biggest. It's not the biggest. It's not the biggest one biggest investment company in the world. They have about 20 billion assets. They're in? Also, I think they are in Europe. They're probably in Ireland also. But it is an American company for sure, and so it's not the 20 billion is their total assets. So this is a big investment for them for sure. And then the second largest owner will be the Danish government. They're still going to be in there. What do you think of that? Is that really something? They're doubling down. They lost a ton of money. They've spent billions of kroner on SAS, and now they're putting down a substantial amount, which $3 or $4 billion or 3-4 billion kroner is what they're putting down. How do we feel about that?
Well, I was actually quite surprised that the Danish government would put in more money in SAS. Originally SAS was founded with 7 parts to the Norwegian government, 7 parts to the Danish government, and 7 parts to the Swedish government. And since then it has been watered out a bit by them selling or raising new funds, of course. But I hope that the share of the Danish state would secure us that the SAS name is going on further. When that said, Air France-KLM only have a 20% share now in the new constellation, and of course that's not enough to convert SAS to a part of KLM, for instance, even though they are flying to the 7-8 biggest cities in Norway,
right? And Sweden and Denmark also. Obviously, they have secondary cities in Denmark too, which is quite interesting. But there was a comment made. So if we move over to Air France-KLM and their ownership, it is interesting to see that we are only talking about 20%, as you said. But why is Air France-KLM 20? Yeah, so 20%. Why is KLM Air France taking this piece? Well, I think that the smartest comment I've seen out there today is by Christian Komho. He says that Amsterdam will not have the opportunity to grow anymore, right? And how far is Amsterdam from Copenhagen? Not very much. So the reason why we're seeing this ownership from both the Danish government is that they want to keep the hub in Copenhagen and have that power at SAS to keep the hub there, because it's one of Denmark's largest employers. And Air France-KLM, if they're going to expand in the space, then they need a place, they need a new hub. that's in a geographical location that's not too far from the Netherlands. And they already have in France, they're well covered with Air France, but KLM, let's not kid ourselves, it's the most profitable piece. KLM is the most profitable piece by far, and always has been of Air France-KLM. So I see that maybe the growth long haul, maybe a KLM will make Copenhagen into a long haul hub. Will it happen with KLM metal? Probably not. I'm not sure. Well, maybe. Who knows? But maybe they will build up a hub there. But I think at the end of the day, when the Dutch government has put a cap on how many flights you can have out of Schiphol, then they're obviously looking elsewhere to keep growing.
Well, I was thinking about much of the same as you said there, Tommy. Mike, when we saw Norwegian going down and going up again, the one thing they skipped immediately was their long haul routes, which Norse took over, and they are not doing that great, if we are putting it mildly. So my thought was that, okay, we have seen the last of SAS long haul. That will be taken over by KLM or Air France. When that's said, of course, it could be possible that some of the KLM long-haul flights could depart from Copenhagen. That, again, would take that KLM has some more feeding from their hub or use bigger planes from Amsterdam and up to Copenhagen if they cannot fill those planes with passengers from Scandinavia.
Speaking of, we actually have Christian come here. We were talking about. I was just giving you. Hey, Christian, long time no see, man.
Hey.
So I was just noting your comment, and I wanted to. It's great that you joined us. Happily, noting your comment, which is probably the most intelligent comment I've seen today.
Thank you, Tommy.
Which is the motivation for the Danish government as one of the largest employers in Copenhagen or in Denmark is Kastrup Airport, and also the motivation for KLM that needs a place to grow. Their home is at capped, and it's not going to get any better in the future. That's probably the main reason why we're seeing this aggressive investment by them into the space. And I saw you commented on that early, and I 100% agree with that.
And there's been some surprise that was Air France-KLM, not Lufthansa Group, that came in and supported this buyout. But I don't think Lufthansa Group has the bandwidth to absorb SAS, or even probably wouldn't even be allowed to by the EU competition authorities.
I agree. I think Lufthansa is in a transition now. They have a lot of projects with their own companies, and also buying themselves out. They bought the German government out a lot faster than they needed to. A lot of capital was spent on that, and like you said, I also feel like they've been hesitant. They've had the opportunity many times though to come in. So. And now we see SkyTeam, who has historically been in Scandinavia, kind of a good alternative because of KLM flying a lot of flights in.
Yeah, like I told a news agency earlier today, I was like, KLM flies from almost every major airport in Norway to Amsterdam today. So Norwegians have been used to connecting through Amsterdam for years, just as they've been used to connecting through Frankfurt, and they will continue to do so.
Do you think that KLM is going to try and build a base, long haul base, or any sort of base in Copenhagen?
I think definitely KLM or the group. Let's use let's say that KLM, Air France-KLM will take 100% of SAS, which I think they will in the end. Now it's 20% and probably be a little bit diluted. But I think all the major groups want to have full control over airlines that they purchase. So like I said, there's really no room for growth in Amsterdam anymore. So like for Germany, for instance, you might as well fly from any German airport to Copenhagen and connect there rather than flying through Amsterdam as you will today.
Right.
So definitely, yeah.
No, okay, Copenhagen is a great place to connect for sure, and I feel so. So let's talk a little bit about equipment. So KLM has historically been a Boeing shop, and SAS is just in a month and a half from now. They're kind of done with Boeing.
Yeah.
And looking at the pipeline of what, and SAS has dumped a lot of long haul planes. But we see it's trickling in with short haul neos every once in a while. But KLM has just this year, or the next 7-8 months, they're getting 10 more 787-10s. What do you think it's going to look like? Is SAS going to continue down the Airbus avenue?
I definitely think so, Tommy. Especially, you said Dreamliners for KLM, but KLM Air France has also ordered a bunch of A350s just recently, 900s and thousands. So that's a possibility for SAS to get a piece of that action. And and Air France has A320 neos, A321s, the A220, which I hope will replace the Embraer going further for Link and Connect.
Fantastic airplane.
Lot of good fleet commonality in that group,
And change into other aircraft types now, or other producers would cost them a lot of money in converting.
Yeah.
And they don't have the money to do that now. The question is that they got the fundings in September. What was it? August. The company lost almost 700 million Swedish krona. Of course, that can continue. So how will SAS make money again? I can't see that a cooperation with Air France-KLM would give them so much better economy in the future without any big grip is being taken.
Yeah, a lot of these financials that have come out the last year, I think they're kind of fishy. I think they're
monthly reporting is not it's not advantageous to do monthly reporting. It won't give the correct state of the company by doing so, but they have to because of the Chapter 11 process. So I wouldn't read too much into the August number, to be honest with you. It might be an extraordinary thing. We haven't even seen what the details of that is yet.
Yeah,
but what the fact is that if SAS was making money, then they wouldn't have been in this situation. So
that's right.
They have this big program of moving forward, and until now, they haven't said a lot about how they are going to turn things around.
A lot of the issues that SAS has had is the same that Norwegian had 2 years ago with enormous debt following the pandemic. Now that debt is being wiped out, they're getting better deals on leasing because of the Chapter 11 process. So I think I wouldn't really read too much into the numbers at all until SAS is exiting Chapter 11. Probably first quarter of 24.
If you look at the number of the actual money that SAS spent on interest in the last 12 months, it's a staggering number. And it obviously has a huge impact on the bottom line for sure. But let's talk a little bit about the frequent flyer programs and the market situation in Scandinavia. So a lot of reactions out there today. And as it is always with frequent flyers, who has a dog in the hunt, it's there is always a lot of negatives, and like you said earlier, Christian, today everybody's complaining about Eurobonus already. But let's take a peek a little bit about what something would look like. I think that it's I'm going to bet that there are 8 loyalty programs that are now part of the Flying Blue infrastructure, and I think that a lot of the European programs. We now see British Airways Executive Club is transforming at the end of this year to revenue-based like the US programs. And we're looking, back-end wise, I'm sure it's a big technological lift for SAS that they haven't afforded to take that lift. And it's a big project that needs to be done. And as we know, the technology products with SAS have, varied in quality throughout the years, as with many other airlines.
Takes some time.
Yeah, so into a revenue-based program because Flying Blue is already revenue-based. So, do we think that Eurobonus will be a part of Flying Blue?
Let's see, not in the short run, but in the long run, definitely yes. You've seen it in the Lufthansa group as well. Companies came in with their own programs, and then they became Miles & More. So, but not this year, maybe not even next year, but in the end, I think we transitioned into Flying Blue.
Right.
But Christian, the companies that have joined Miles & More have been owned totally by Lufthansa Group. That might be something else, but
no,
but SAS will be. I think SAS will be fully owned by Air France-KLM.
Yeah, so a lot is not owned by 100% by Lufthansa, and they are in Flying Blue. And the same with Finnair, for example. It's a standalone company that's now part of the Avios currency. So I don't think that's a prerequisite. Looking at who Flying Blue has in their midst, it's Kenya Airways, for example, Tarom, which from Romania, and Air KLM as well as are three companies. Well, it's kind of a connection there. But at the end of the day, the currency, I think that the currency move is going to be interesting. But I think that the transition for Scandinavian Airlines, who was one of the founders of Star Alliance, I think it's going to be a tough transition. It's going to be something that. Star Alliance Gold is what we're talking about here. So how many members, do we know how many lifetime gold members SAS has?
No, they are not telling. But what I would be afraid of is that the lifetime gold would not be continued. If you have gathered 7 or 8 out of the 10 years you need to become a lifetime gold, I would really be nervous and consider if I should use some extra money to reach the level next year.
I'm not sure. I think that's going to be a hard sell, but I think that there might be two things that might happen. So KLM does not have, but first of all, you don't have to be like a Flying Blue. You can be a partner of. You can have Flying Blue as the currency. Your frequent flyer program might not change as much. But if they are full-blowing moving over to the platform, KLM doesn't have lifetime gold membership. So the tier level we're talking about, which is equivalent to Eurobonus Gold, they only have platinum. So when you've flown X amount of XPs, I think it's 2 million or 1 million. It's a big number. So it requires quite a bit to get there. That means that platinum is the tier that is available for lifetime status. I would guess that maybe that SAS would to make it simple would give the SAS Eurobonus members lifetime platinum instead of lifetime gold, because lifetime gold doesn't exist with KLM. What do you guys think?
I don't think KLM would allow them to level up that membership. On the other hand, SAS have 7.5 million Eurobonus members, which has a lot of points. They have somebody have the lifetime status. What do they do with the Pandion customers? They can't afford to piss on them. That would be equal to shoot themselves in both legs and in the head at the same time.
I think they have a lot of time to figure that out.
It's going to be years and years until this transition is going to happen. I think they'll find some good ways to transition over. So I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Right. So let's see what the difference.
This has happened before, right?
Yeah. So if we were to see what the difference between being gold and platinum with KLM, it's two things that to speak of, right? First of all, they don't have any, except for La Première, which has huge restrictions revenue-wise. No, I mean redemption-wise with Flying Blue or SkyTeam already. You don't get access to those tickets unless you are platinum, or if you, I don't know which tier it is. There's been some changes to that, but there are, of course, you're missing out on like the big first class lounges and the first class service and all of the fancy, all of the aspirational stuff kind of disappears when you step into SkyTeam, right? That's the first thing that happens. So the lounges are the same if you fly KLM. In Paris, they're the same if you fly in business class or if you have status. But you have La Première has their own lounge. But you have to tier. It doesn't matter. You have to be flying in La Première in order to get it. And La Première in the future, now that the A380s are they gone, Christian, from Air France?
No, I don't think so.
I thought I saw somewhere that they were planning on getting rid of all of them. That it has a substantial cabin for that, but the 777-300ER and also the whatever they're putting in the A350 will have a maximum of 4 seats, maybe 3, if they're depending on how exclusive they're going to make it. But right now it has been 4 seats, which is very, very, very low, very small cabin, which is going to be there. So let's keep that out of the equation for now. That means that the difference between gold and platinum, it is that you can check another bag is one thing. The lounge situation is the same. Sky Priority is the same, but the difference is that you can pick your seat for free. Any seat on the plane, 72 hours, in the various cabins. KLM has like more leg room and things like that, and better seats and things that are available like that. But looking at that, so the only thing is the difference between gold is 1 extra bag, and that as platinum, you can pick whatever seat you want in economy at any given time. When you book the tickets, you can pick it. But with gold, it's 72 hours before. But there is a good amount of pool of seats that are called standard seats that you can pick. It's just not as good as the ones that are up front. So the difference between gold and platinum is negotiable, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They don't have a separate type of lounge. Like now, if you are Star Alliance Gold with Lufthansa, for example, you get access to the Star Alliance business class. It's the same lounges, right? It's no differentiation between that, right? So
but it's the same with SAS. I mean, the diamond versus the gold.
I get that, but at the end of the day, the business passengers with KLM, they go into the same lounge as the platinums and golds do. There's no differentiation. You don't have a specific gold lounge like you do with SAS. You have with Lufthansa and SAS, you have the Senator Lounge and you have the business lounge. KLM is just one lounge. So that's
that's right.
So you don't get any advantages that you get to go into the gold lounge. Is my point. You have picking the seat and checking another bag. Those are the only benefits that So you have an exclusive platinum service line 24/7. Sure, that probably is valuable. But KLM, I felt like I don't have status with KLM, and I just use WhatsApp, and they respond immediately to me on that. So either WhatsApp or any of the other interactive things if I wanted a seat or buy an upgrade and things like that. So I don't see the big difference. So I'm gonna try and predicting here. I'm actually going to double down and saying that maybe it'll end up that SAS Eurobonus Gold will get a lifetime platinum with if they join Air France-KLM instead. They're definitely not going to leave them out to lurch. That has not happened. So American and US Airways merged. They took well care of their lifetime members. Same with United and Continental, and also Delta and Northwest. All of those were well taken care of. I got made out like a bandit combining the two programs. Because on United you would get the Lufthansa or Continental. It would count the what was flown through partners also. So I made out like a bandit. I was close to 2 million miles already, and 1 million miles is what you need for Star Alliance Gold. But I feel like that's going to be the trend. I don't think that they're going to piss off their members by getting rid of the lifetime stuff. That's never going to happen.
No, I would say they couldn't afford that. But remember that Air France-KLM also have a level above the platinum. I think it's called
for
premium.
the Pandion level, right?
Yeah, premium as a Pandion, and which have the same service as you get if you are a honorary circle with the Lufthansa. Means you get access to the first class lounge, you get picked up at the plane. There are some lounges that have their own part for the premium customers. And people I have been talking to that have enjoyed that service is very happy with it.
Oh yeah, of course.
But again, you should spend a lot of money with Air France-KLM just to be.
Well, that means that you have an opportunity here too. I mean, you have more opportunities to earn. Like meaning that if it's a part of Flying Blue, that means that you don't. If you fly with Lufthansa, that's not a way for you to get Pandion, right? But I assume that if you are in the group and it's the same owners.
No, but yeah.
I would say that an SAS, whatever this level is, I know about the level. I'm not up to speed on what they're offering, but I've heard what they do. Bear in mind, they only have one first class lounge, though. It's in Paris, so it's not like it's all over the place. So, but I knew, and also it's not all airports that do the transfers. Do they do the transfers in Amsterdam, or is it just Paris?
I am not sure.
So I think that the only place I've seen or I've experienced myself a few, regretfully, only a couple of or 3 times I've flown La Premiere in my life. I've enjoyed that service, but I don't, since there's no first class in and out of Amsterdam, I don't really think that that's going to be a service that they offer there. I haven't seen any cars on the tarmac offering that, but of course, I mean, at the end of the day, if it's going to be merged together as one big program, I feel like, there will be probably like there's an On-Circle Austrian member. There's an On-Circle Swiss member. You have these cards where it's the same qualification. It's integrated into the group, but you have your if you're based in Switzerland, there will be a Swiss logo on your card instead of having the standard Lufthansa logo on it. So I think that avenue is definitely open, and it should entice high spenders if they can get that kind of service. To definitely stick with Eurobonus.
What we can say for sure is that the SAS would have a tough turn on negotiating with Air France-KLM over a merger of the two programs. SAS is the small one here, standing with what we in Scandinavia said with the lua i hånda. They are the minor here that have to beg for.
We call it in the US.
Yeah. You have to beg for getting the advantages that you want, and they would say that okay, if you want, you will follow what we say, or you don't get it.
But on the other hand, but on the other hand, you have a large group of very loyal passengers who spend a lot of money, who are from a very affluent area. I mean, Scandinavians travel more than anybody else in the world. And we pay good money. So on the revenue side, I think, like you said, it would not make sense to piss these high-paying customers off.
No, but if they don't have a choice.
No, I think
I don't think they will piss them off, but I'm afraid they will come in a situation where they don't have a choice.
Yeah, I think that's really not the way it works. What we're probably going to be seeing is the Eurobonus team is going to be working closely with Ben Lipsy, who is, he's kind of like us. Originally, he was a frequent flyer who we've known for a long time. He's been hanging around us for a long time, who's now runs the program. So I wouldn't say that we've got our man in Amsterdam at the Flying Blue headquarters. He's one of us. So I would say that that's a positive thing, but it doesn't really work like that. I think that KLM or France are going to come in and work with Aaron, work with Olivia, and work with all of these the talented ladies and gentlemen that work for Eurobonus. I just met up with them at our loyalty summit in London last week. Or actually a week and a half ago, two weeks ago, this coming Thursday, where I had a chat with Olivia. This didn't come up, of course, and she probably already knew, but that would have been an interesting discussion. But I think that Flying Blues looks at this as an opportunity. It means that they have more ways to redeem. They have more ways to earn. They have a really good built-out credit card infrastructure, meaning that SAS has done a much better job than many airlines in Europe of their size to build out a secondary revenue stream that could be a primary revenue stream in the space. So I think we're going to be okay, and I think that it needs to make sense, because you have the biggest asset we just went through. KLM and Air France, Flying Blue was just literally spun off, like with a value of 2 billion euros. So, which is more than twice the money that SAS is valued at. You know, the investment now is $1.1 billion is the investment we're talking about here. Flying Blue is worth more than twice that. And that's just the miles and points asset. So I think that Air France-KLM is going to look at this as an opportunity more than something that they want to slaughter and integrate. I have a feeling, and also when we know aggressively just last week what the Dutch government have said, that how they're going to now continue to limit Schiphol as an airport. I think that they want to stay on the good side of Scandinavians moving forward.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, boys.
If we look back to the time before the merger between Broughton Safe and SAS, we can remember that Broughton's was a part of the KLM alliance then. I guess that was before SkyTeam also, but I remember I was traveling a lot at that time, and we got a lot of benefits from KLM, even with the higher status as Broughton's, even upgrade on international flights or intercontinental flights also. We never see that today, but of course we are talking 20 years back, so a lot of things have changed.
Now they know how to monetize that stuff.
The one thing that I will miss, though, Tommy, is the pretzels in the Senator Lounge.
Well,
but I can live with that.
You just have to buy a KLM. You just have to buy a Lufthansa ticket, and then you're back.
Yeah, for me personally, I think that it's a little bit sad because, you know, being a founding member, shaping the way the Star Alliance is today, and a predominant dominant carrier in the alliance, even though SAS was never the size of the big guys. They taught them a lot of how to do customer service. Maybe not as much anymore, but that's across the board. Airlines have gotten better at monetization, and the consumers are forcing the airlines to sell cheap tickets. And with cheap tickets, they have to find the money somewhere. And you can't have it all in one place. That's just the reality of things. This makes it interesting. For sure, what my strategy personally would be, but that's highly irrelevant in this case. I'm pretty excited about it, though.
Me too.
But with all the Star Alliance fans in Norway, any chance that Norwegian would apply for a Star Alliance membership when SAS is leaving?
Never.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
It absolutely doesn't make any sense, because the benefits that Norwegian is banking on that Norwegian needs in order to make money is ancillary revenue, and starting to give those away for free. Well, I guess technically, the bags and stuff like that you have to pay for now, and seat assignments you have to pay for anyways if you don't have status. So I guess that's it. But to at the end of the day, though, to an extent, there will be. I think that they need to follow Ryanair on this and stand alone. I think that's a better play.
If not, Lufthansa is buying into them when they are standing at the door and need some more money. You never know.
I think that they first need to get the Widerøe approval before we start looking into that. And I think that Lufthansa coming in buying Norwegian it's going to be about the same probability as the Widerøe merger coming through. Well, we'll see. Do you think that'll come through, Christian? By the way.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll see.
We might see some divestitures, but I think it's probably going to go through.
It would be exciting to see. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and for everybody that's been here today. It will live out there on all the 14 channels we have been streaming on today. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your evening in Norway, and I will be the first weekend of December. I will be in Oslo, so maybe we can try and see if we can get a beer.
We'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Appreciate
Bye,
the
guys.
insight. Cheers.